8.
Number 108. Though I walk in ways unknown, I am never left alone, for the Lord will not forsake me while I do His will. But whatever may betide, He is walking by my side, and by this I know He loves me still. He is with me still. He is with me still. In the sunshine or the shadow, He is with me still. When the raging storm winds blow and the clouds are hanging low, when the waves are beating on me and the night is chill, there is presence in the storm. My soul's alarmed, and I know that He is with me still. He is with me still. He is with me still. In the sunshine or the shadow, He is with me still. Mid the busy cares of life, in the battle's raging strife, when around my soul are gathered all the hosts of ill, then a voice so sweet and clear whispers words of love and cheer, and I know that He is with me still. He is with me still. He is with me still. In the sunshine or the shadow, He is with me still.
196.
196. How safe is the soul that abides in the Lord, securely from sin hid away. His anchor, the promise of God's written word, to keep him by night and by day. That wicked one toucheth him not, that wicked one toucheth him not. He keepeth himself in the love of the Lord, and wicked one toucheth him not. How firm the foundation upon which He built a structure to glorify God. How wondrous the power of the Savior that shields from all about tender's dark flood. That wicked one toucheth him not, that wicked one toucheth him not. He keepeth himself in the love of the Lord, and the wicked one toucheth him not. A wall of salvation upon every side, strong bulwarks brings ends to the foe, and in every conflict away. Ne'er can I such love repay. He's so good to me. Jesus is good to me. Jesus is good to me. Safely keeps me from the wrong. In the conflict makes me strong. Blesses all my journey long. He's so good to me. Jesus has been so good to me. From this world he set me free. Grace and glory did impart. Satisfied my longing heart. From his love I'll never part. He's so good to me. Jesus is good to me. Jesus is good to me. Safely keeps me from the wrong. In the conflict makes me strong. Blesses all my journey long. He's so good to me. Jesus has been so good to me, and his face I soon shall see. Though I once afar did roam, lost, unworthy of his love, he prepared a home above. He's so good to me. Jesus is good to me. Jesus is good to me. Safely keeps me from the wrong. In the conflict makes me strong. Blesses all my journey long. He's so good to me. Jesus has been so good to me. None so fair, so dear as he. Hallelujah, he is mine, keeping me by grace divine, and his glory daily shine.
Good evening. Paul said in the 4th chapter of Philippians, he said, I have learned in whatsoever state I'm in therewith to be content. Everywhere in all things I have learned both to be full, to be hungry, both to abound, to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. We sang all of the songs tonight were songs of assurance that the Lord is with us. He's with me still. The wicked one can't touch us. Jesus is good to me. Do you believe that tonight? Is God real to you? Do you know that He wants to be real to us? I don't want to serve the Lord as if He's not really a real God that I really believe in. You thought about that much? I don't want to play church. I don't want to read my Bible and just think I'm doing it because it's a good thing, but it's maybe not real in my life. We invest a lot of time and effort, don't we, in our lives with how we live our lives? Don't we make a lot of decisions that do involve some intentional sacrifices and different ways of living because we say that we believe that's what the Lord wants us to do? Do we believe He's real? Is He with us? Do we really believe and internalize that He's in me and that this is not in vain? Do you know that the Lord wants us to have an assurance that that's the truth, regardless of what feelings may be, regardless of whether we're full or hungry or whatever state that we're in emotionally? Paul came to the place where he said, I've learned that whatever's going on, I'm content because God's real and I can do whatever through Christ which strengthens me. I want to live my life with that kind of assurance. You have Thanksgiving tonight. Don't we have? I'd like to turn to the 23rd chapter of Proverbs tonight. If I were to title the little lesson tonight, it almost seems a little harsh to write on the board, so I haven't written it yet. Well, this is Scripture. It says, "Put a knife to thy throat." And it's my thought a little bit, but maybe there's a little bit that goes with it. Maybe help dull the edge just a little bit. I'd like to read, maybe to start with, if somebody has Proverbs 23 and 23, let's start there. Maybe just read that one verse.
Buy the truth and sell it not, also wisdom and instruction and understanding.
All right, buy the truth and sell it not. Wisdom, instruction, and understanding. And I noticed that, let me back up. Have you ever asked somebody, "Hey, is this for sale?" And get the response, "Well, everything is actually for sale." I mean, it's not for sale, but for the right price, we'll sell anything if you're willing to pay enough for it. But I noticed that in this verse, that it doesn't say, "Buy the truth and sell it not," unless you get a really good price for it. It doesn't say that. It just kind of has a pretty short verse, and it has a period at the end of it, and there's not really any qualification around it. It just says, "Buy the truth and sell it not," and along with that, a wisdom and instruction and understanding. It's a common verse that we've probably all heard that exhorts that at no price should truth, wisdom, understanding be sold. Why is that? Why would it be that those things shouldn't be sold? Our life depends on it. Our life depends on truth, doesn't it? Anyone else?
He pretty well said what I was thinking about we need. I mean, we gotta have it to make it in line. They come out. They wanna come out good. When it's all said and done, we need them.
How good is a well if it doesn't have any water in it? How can we have life except that we have truth? I thought I heard something over here. Somebody else have something?
So think about what you would have left if you sold it. You'd have lies and ignorance.
Yeah, so sold for what? So if we sell it, then sold for what? As Brother Kelly brought out, absence of truth. Hey, I'm going to sell you this truth, this understanding, and this wisdom. But then whatever you get, what you also get is the absence of truth. And sometimes people say, I've made my decision. This is what I want to do, and I don't want to talk about it. That doesn't mean that they don't want to do what truth is. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes people just want to do what they want to do, and they don't want to have to come face to face with truth. And I know I've told you this numerous times. I'm probably going to keep telling you this because it struck me so much. But one of my employees one time told me in front of the rest of the crew in the room, he said, I don't read my Bible as much as I should, because he said if I do, he said, then I'm going to know what truth is, and then I'm going to be held accountable to it, so I don't read it. Does that work that way? It doesn't work that way, does it? I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I think it's a good foundation. What is inherent with the decision to sell things? Why is it that one chooses to sell something? Why do we do that? And so it doesn't have value enough to retain it, and tell me if I'm getting different than what you're trying to say. You believe that what you can get in return for it is more valuable to you than what it has for you by keeping it. But these things are eternal. And so how do you put a value on truth and wisdom and understanding? It's not possible. All right, we'll just summarize and end this little discussion with this. It's not possible to be able to sell truth and wisdom and understanding, those things that you know is right, and then you're willing to let it go. It's not possible to do that and get something in return of equal or greater value. Because as Brother Kelly brought out, you necessarily are going to receive in return, with whatever else it is that you get, the absence of truth, the absence of wisdom, not heeding to understanding that maybe you had. I don't want to be there, okay? So we started off, at least in part, with the conclusion of what the wise man that wrote Proverbs had just spent some time exhorting on. So for the first 22 verses, he exhorted on a number of topics. And then he came to this 23rd verse, which he may not have meant as a conclusion because he kept going, but he inserted this piece after exhorting on all of these truths, these other truths, and these things that can help us have wisdom as we make decisions in life. He says, hey, buy, invest in, give yourself. It might take something, but it's worth it. Buy. Give something out so that you can get truth. Don't sell it when you get it. Hold on to it. And so I'd like to explore maybe just a little bit a few of these verses with this exhortation in mind, that these truths that we're going to speak of, and I'm not going to try to get very far, maybe the first 3 or 4 verses. It's truth. It's wisdom. We have an opportunity to gain some understanding tonight, if you will. Maybe you already have this understanding, but Lord can help us wherever we are to increase our understanding, to help us have a greater understanding of truth. And when you get a hold of it, my exhortation in the fear of the Lord, not just to you but to myself tonight, is that we internalize it, we invest in getting a hold of it tonight, and don't sell it. Don't sell it. Proverbs 23:1 says, when thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. So there's 3 things that strike me right away about this verse. When thou, so he's talking about whoever's reading this, and so that's to all of us tonight, so we can insert the word you. Whenever whenever I sit. So that's one thing that strikes me. Sit to eat. He's not talking about when you pass by. There's a lot of lessons that could be preached on when you pass by something. But he's speaking of, all right, I'm preparing to sit down. I'm going to be here a while. There's an opportunity to be influenced, and there's opportunity to influence. I've made a choice to sit. I've made a choice to be in this environment for a while. And it said, I'm going to be in this environment, I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to eat. I'm going to take some things in. And most oftentimes when we sit and we eat with other people, there's also things that we give out, I've noticed. So those are two things that I've noticed. And the other thing is, there's something key in this verse that seems to be part of the message. When you sit and you spend time and you are going to be in an environment for a while, and you are going to partake and take things in, and you're with a ruler. Consider diligently what's before you. What is he trying to... what do you think the point might be by inserting in here that it's a ruler? He could have said, when thou sittest to eat with your children, when you sit to eat with your spouse, when you sit to eat with your mom and dad, but he didn't. And I don't think it was an accident. I think he meant what he said here. When you sit and you eat with a ruler, what is it about sitting and eating with a ruler that's different? What is a ruler to us? What does that mean?
Well, someone in control of the situation a little bit here.
Okay. Somebody that maybe has some control that you don't. All right. What else?
Somebody that can affect our life for good or bad.
Somebody that has the potential to affect your life for good or for bad. All right. What else about a ruler? Anyone else? I don't want to cut anybody off. A ruler is, and this has been brought out, an overseer. It's somebody that we often, in our humanity, look up to. It may be somebody that we admire. It's, as was brought out, it's somebody that likely has the ability to influence maybe what you do. A ruler, oftentimes we are drawn to trying to impress or be accepted by the ruler, aren't we? If a ruler's here, do we want the ruler to think less of us, or do we want to be accepted by the ruler? Because after all, it's the ruler. They have the ability, as was brought out, they can affect our lives. They're in a place that maybe is a higher status than what we are. Do you want to be accepted by them? A lot of times we're drawn in our humanity to that. And here's another thing that has been brought out different times. A lot of times rulers have what you don't have. And you're sitting at a table to eat, to spend some time with somebody that has something that you're not acquainted with. Some things you don't have. And there's somebody that or naturally feel drawn to in a particular sort of way and want to be accepted by them. And this says, when you're in those places, consider diligently what is before thee. It's not in you yet, it's before you. You pull up, you're at a table, you sit down, you're going to be there a while, there's some influence, there's somebody there that has influence, and Solomon said, consider carefully what is on that table in front of you. Seek to understand what's on that table. Have some wisdom about what's on that table and what happens next. What might the word eat include? Do you think that just means food? Is he just talking about what we put in our mouth and chew with our teeth and move on to the next day? Is he just talking about food? What do you think?
It might include that, but usually there's something else behind all this too.
It might include food, but I'll just tell you what I've been inspired with to deliver this evening. And that is that food, those things that we take in, and as a result of what we take in, the things that we give out, it includes how we talk, how we act, what we prioritize as important, how we present ourselves, those things that we choose to value. So when we come in and we are under the influence of somebody or something that has something that we don't, be careful and consider diligently what's before you. Consider diligently what your next steps are. What you talk about, how you talk about it, how you act, what your behaviors are, what you all of a sudden decide is important to you. And I'm trying to reiterate some of those things. How you present yourself. Because we live in this world where it's like this table has been set. And sometimes there seems to be this almost mysterious they that are higher than we, that it's a spirit of the world. It's a spirit that is in the world that has things to offer that we are not perhaps acquainted with. And it brings some allure. And if we're not careful, we want to be accepted. We want to try. We want to try it. We want to partake of it. We want to see what all that is about. And if we are not careful, we can begin to live our lives again. Make choices on what we decide is important in life based upon that thing that we're somehow trying to please, that's a ruler that's sitting at the table. Even though we can't always identify exactly who that ruler is, there is a spirit that is at work in the world that is drawing us, that is setting a table of things to partake of, and they're saying, eat, partake, try this. Following me so far? And the writer said, when this happens, When you're sitting to eat with the ruler, consider diligently what is before you, and put a knife to thy throat, if you be a man given to appetite. When we find ourselves in places where there are things that tempt us, where it's that thing that just somehow we're drawn to. You know, we're not drawn to everything. Some people are drawn to some things in the world that aren't good for them, and other people, they're not tempted by them at all. And we could all probably give examples of things that some people, they just allow their lives to be ruined by in the world because they're so drawn to it, and then it destroys their life and their health and their marriage and their home. And it may not even be a temptation at all to some people. But then there's other things that we're just so drawn to. And to me, what I'm getting out of this is that when you sit down and you're in the influence of things that maybe aren't just readily available in your own home or what you've experienced in the past, and then here it is, it's presented before you, and there's some mystique associated with it, and you haven't done it before, and it's outside of the norm of where you've lived your life. Be careful. Consider diligently what's sitting in front of you, especially if it's something that you are just drawn to. And this says, I guess it's a literary technique, put a knife to thy throat. That's kind of an attention getter. It's very stark. Put a knife to your throat. That's pretty serious business. What if someone actually puts a knife to your throat? What is one typically how are they gonna react? If someone puts a knife on your throat, how are you gonna react? Not emotionally, physically. Okay, I don't know what you're gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be real careful about making any quick moves. I'm going to be real cautious. I'm going to be moving real slow. I might not be moving at all because my life's at stake. And so, figuratively speaking, the point that I believe the writer is communicating is, if you find yourself in these places where you're drawn to things that you're really not familiar with, and they have appeal to you, because this next verse says, be not desirous of his dainties. When there's those things out there and you say, well, we didn't have those when I was growing up in my home. That wasn't allowed. But now that I'm out of the house, boy, it just looks like the world is wide open, and there's all these things that, boy, they're so appealing, and they look like dainties, and I don't know that there's anything so wrong with them. I've never been hurt by it. No, because you've never ingested it. And when you find yourself in these places, and it's not just to the young people, it's for all of us, because the enemy never stops working. When we find ourselves in these places and we feel this urge, this desire to move forward, to partake, I think I'm gonna just try it out. I don't see what's so bad about it. I'm gonna just try it out. This is saying, if you're drawn to that and you don't really understand it, and you're in this place where there's this ruler and you're sitting at this table and there's all these things you're not really familiar with and you're feeling drawn to it and you really don't have a lot of understanding of it, be careful. Be careful. In fact, he's trying to make the point so strongly that he said, put a knife to your throat. Be careful about what you take in. Eat, drink, converse, talk, communicate, live life under a check. Carefully, thoughtfully, repress your appetite right then. Don't let it get the better of you. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. I wrote some things down here that I read one person comment on this verse. Eat not of delicacies to which thou art not accustomed and don't understand. Not just talking about food that you put in your mouth. Talking about ways of living life that look so appealing, that look so good. How can that be wrong? Might as well just try it, just a little bit. Saying, be careful. Don't partake of delicacies to which thou art not accustomed and don't understand. Don't understand. It's good to understand what it is that we put in our mouths. It's not wise to put things in our mouths that we don't understand, lest we're harmed by them. Said that they're deceitful meat. Initial thrill, perhaps. They please, they said, but they don't profit. They're pleasant to the sight, pleasant to the taste, pleasant to the smell, but they're injurious to health. Well, we could spend a long time tonight. We could go through a whole lot of examples of specific things, and maybe sometime we can. Probably won't take the time tonight. But what does the Bible tell us is going to pass away and is not like God, but it's of the world? And it's not of God, but it's of the world. And those that give themselves to partaking and eating of those things won't live. Do you remember what the verse says? Brother Carlos said that the Scripture says in James, the lust of the flesh. And there's all kinds of things that fit into that bucket of the lust of the flesh. We draw a bucket on the board, call it lust of the flesh, and write out all kinds of things that fit in that bucket, that the table is spread with, that oftentimes we are confronted with. It's offered to us, and it's offered to us sometimes in such a way that we feel almost compelled to go ahead and partake for one reason or another. Sometimes because of who's offering it. Other times because we are naturally drawn to it. That's what the lust of the flesh refers to. It's in our humanity, it's things that we're drawn to. But they're not of God. The lust of the eyes, things that our eyes may be drawn to, that's not holy, and it's not right, and it's not godly. We say, well, I don't know, that's kind of unknown to me. What is that again? And the alarm bells are going off, and it's like, hold on, put a knife to your throat, put this, and yet it was like, well, I don't know, and we just allow ourselves to just get drawn in, and all of a sudden, before we know it, we allow things to come into our minds that we think is just going to be something passing. Well, I'm just going to look at it. And then we look at it, but then it never goes away. It finds a spot in our minds. Dainties, things that are deceitful, that look harmless, but they're not harmless. And the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. The
Well, the next verse starts to speak to it, and I'm not going to spend a long time on that. Labor not to be rich. The pride of life. Things, temporal things, materialism, the pride of life, reputation, position. And we can be drawn to those things because sometimes the people around us, we want to please, we want to be accepted, we want to be viewed as being able to, they can handle it, they can get it done. Come on up here. Here, why don't you step up here? You're just the person we need. And it's like, well, I want to please them. And then we get drawn away from a place of safety, and then we give in to that and we move somewhere else. And the writer says, be careful. Be careful of those things you don't understand. And if you're drawn to it, repress your appetite for it, at least until you have an understanding of what it is you're doing. Well, this passage is full of wise instruction on how to live life, how to make decisions, just practical things. I encourage you to read this. Read the whole of Proverbs. The 23rd chapter is chock full of just counsel and advice on how to live day-to-day life. For this evening, when you come into unfamiliar surroundings to us all, or surroundings where the influence to partake, to be included, to be accepted is most strong, proceed with caution. Proceed with much caution. Be moderate. Be contemplative. Be careful what you do, what decisions you make, lest you leave, lest a whole season of your life passes, lest you come to the end of life and you get up and you say, oh, why? Why did I do that? Why didn't I give more careful consideration? Why didn't I listen more? Why didn't I observe? Why did I not invest in getting wisdom and truth and understanding before I just gave myself to this thing that adversely changed my life? So the wise man counsels us to do whatever is necessary to live according to wisdom, by truth. Sell it not. Don't sell what you understand is right for a bowl of porridge. Don't sell your birthright. Don't give away purity. Don't give away holiness. Don't give away a heart of purpose to serve the Lord more than anything else. Don't sell those things for a bowl of porridge that satisfies in the moment but results in losing your birthright, results in your life, results in things that you can't get back. Invest in wisdom and truth and understanding and sell it not. And if we'll do that and we put it in practice, folks, it will minimize the regrets that we have in life. It minimizes avoidable errors. We're going to make errors. All of us are going to make errors in life. We're going to learn from our mistakes. There's going to be some things that maybe we just didn't know any better, but we do now, and we're going to do better tomorrow. But there's some things that are avoidable mistakes that can affect our lives for the whole rest of our lives, and they would be avoidable if we would be willing to invest in wisdom and truth and understanding. Tonight, this is just practical scripture for day-to-day living, and it's here for us to read, to benefit from, and I want to get my portion from it. Pray for me. I want to be true.